In the global race for quantum supremacy, you've got some nations sprinting, trying to grab every headline they can. But Singapore, they're playing a totally different game. It's a long game, a really deliberate orchestration of tech, talent, and strategic partnerships. So how exactly are they building this quantum future? Let's dive in and break down their blueprint, one precise block at a time.
And this quote, it just nails the entire Singaporean approach. While you see others chasing these huge, headline-grabbing qubit counts, Singapore is focused on something way more fundamental, building a solid, integrated foundation. It's not about having the flashiest demo. It's about creating a system that actually works, and one that's really built to last.
And they are putting their money where their mouth is. That structure is backed by a serious commitment. We're talking about a $300 million investment. Now, this isn't just funding for a few random experiments. This is the financial backbone for a whole national mission. It's a big, calculated bet on building deep, lasting capability.
So you're probably wondering, where does a number that big actually go? Well, it's all part of a super detailed master plan, a blueprint for an entire quantum ecosystem. Let's break down what that actually looks like.
Okay, so at the very core of this whole blueprint is the National Quantum Strategy. And the group holding all the strings together is the National Quantum Office, or NQO. You can almost think of the NQO as the central nervous system for this whole operation. It coordinates everything from academic research to commercial applications, making sure every single piece works in harmony.
And here it is, the architecture of that strategy, broken down into 5 pillars that are all connected. Now, this isn't just a shopping list. It's a complete, vertically integrated supply chain. They're funding everything from the ground-up R&D on processors to a national foundry so they can actually build the devices themselves. And then they're focused on real-world uses, like a secure communications network and cloud access for businesses. It's a totally holistic approach where each pillar is designed to support and feed all the others.
I love this metaphor because it's so perfect. This really gets at the ambition here. This isn't just about building another lab. It's about creating a totally self-sufficient platform. By integrating the hardware, the software, the security, and the sensing all under one national roof, Singapore is basically building a quantum skyscraper with everything it needs to function on its own.
Okay, so a blueprint is great, right? But you need builders to actually bring it to life. So let's take a look at who those builders are. From the academic powerhouses to the scrappy startups that are taking this tech from the lab and putting it on the global stage.
And right at the heart of all this academic firepower is the Center for Quantum Technologies, the CQT. This place isn't just a research institute anymore, it's the engine room for the whole country. They're now leading the charge on developing processors, exploring those core technologies like trapped ion and neutral atom systems that are going to power Singapore's quantum future.
And all that brainpower is fueling a whole new wave of startups. Now, the scene is still pretty small. We're talking about 10 or so key players, but they are super focused on high-impact areas. You've got companies like Spectral tackling secure communications and Horizon Quantum Computing who are pioneers in simulation. And all of them are getting that crucial government support from places like SG Innovate to turn their research into reality.
And what's crucial to remember is that these startups aren't just stuck on an island, right? A partnership like the one between Horizon and IBM, that's a total game changer. It's not just about getting international credibility, it's about getting your hands on world-class infrastructure and tools. It plugs Singapore's local talent directly into the global quantum supply chain.
And if you want a perfect example of their partnership strategy, look no further than this deal with Quantinium. I mean, just look at how many layers there are to this. It's not just about buying access to their powerful machines. It's about joint R&D. It's about establishing a physical hub right there in Singapore. And, this is key, it's about building talent pipelines for engineers, the skilled builders they so desperately need. This is pure strategy, not just a simple transaction.
But even the most perfectly designed blueprint has to withstand the pressures of the real world. So let's look at the friction points, where Singapore's grand ambition is starting to meet some very real challenges.
And this is the question that really hangs over the whole strategy. With all this careful planning, all this investment, what are the potential cracks in the foundation? Where are the bottlenecks that could slow down this incredible momentum?
So let's get real for a second. On one side, the opportunities are massive. Singapore is just perfectly positioned to be the quantum hub for all of Southeast Asia, and the private sector in banking and logistics is really starting to get interested. But on the flip side, the challenges are just as real. There's a severe talent bottleneck, a lack of clear public goals to measure success, and a pretty shaky funding environment for startups that are looking to scale up.
So, With those challenges in mind, where does Singapore go from here? The next 18 to 24 months are going to be absolutely critical. So let's look at the key developments that we should all be watching for.
All right, so 3 big questions are really going to define the next couple of years. First, can they scale their processors beyond just a lab prototype? Second, will they deepen collaboration with their neighbors in ASEAN to build a truly regional ecosystem? And finally, you should watch for growing pressure, both from inside and outside, for them to set some clear public milestones. The era of just building quietly in the background might need to start showing some public results.
And we can expect to see this translate into some really concrete projects pretty soon. I'd look out for pilot programs in fintech and cybersecurity, the expansion of that quantum-safe network to more companies, and even the creation of brand new R&D hubs that are dedicated specifically to quantum tech. The blueprint is about to become a lot more visible.
So, to bring it all together, in a world that is just obsessed with who has the most qubits, Singapore is consciously writing a completely different story. This isn't about winning some flashy race. It's about a story of strategic utility, careful structure, and creating real long-term value. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, the $300 million question, I guess. The scaffolding they've built is impressive, it's clean, it's intentional, but the real test is coming. The next 2 years are going to show us whether this meticulously constructed framework can actually bear the weight of real-world commercial and scientific demands. And that is a story worth watching.